Hi guys, Head Mesh here. Welcome to this super quick YouTube tutorial where I'm going to show you how to make this square spiral sort of thing. Actually came from me to try and find a normal spiral, and I couldn't do it, so I just decided to settle with this, which is made of squares. Super simple. It's the same shape layer, duplicated over and over, and that's where you get the growth effect from. So without further ado, let's get into it. Right, as you can see from this one I did earlier, the spiral's sort of made of a square, which is 1 by 1, and then another square 2 by 2, and then another square which is 3 by 3, and so on and so on. And what actually powers this is the index expression, so that's what we're going to use today to be able to make the same shape layer and duplicate it over and over, because as its index changes, its side length will change, and that's what we want. So let me open a new composition, make it square, just so that when you go to put it in another composition it doesn't cut off the sides. So what we want in this is a new null object, and call this control layer, and this is just going to be used to control our variables. And in this, go to effect, expression controls, slider control, and duplicate this twice. We want one slider control called unit length, and this is going to be the length of a 1 by 1 square in it. This is unit time, and this is just the amount of time taken for the 1 by 1 square to complete. And this one is stroke width, and this is just obviously the stroke width. So in control layer, we want not in control layer, in this composition we want a new shape layer, and in that we want to add a rectangle, and in that we want to add a stroke, and position. So something you might have noticed is that in the spiral, the even and odd numbered sides have slightly different centers, just because of where they sit in the composition. So the thing that changes the position of each square is going to be this position inside this rectangle path settings. So we're going to power this with an expression. So Alt and click the stopwatch there, and if we type in unit length equals, and then we open this, go back in, unit length equals that. Now the way to separate, or the way I've separated my odd and even values, is by using an expression like this. So direction, which is going to be different for odd and even, and math pow -1 times the index. And what this means is, obviously if you raise -1 to an even power, it's going to give you a value of 1. But if you raise it to an odd value, it's going to give you a value of -1, and it just separates the two. So it's really useful for that. And then what I've used here is something called adjusted center, and that's equal to minus the unit length times, not times, over 4. You'll see why that is later. And then position equals adjusted center plus direction times unit output is position. Right, nice, lovely. Right, so that's great. So I'll explain what the adjusted center is now. Basically, it's just so that because there's that little offset between the odd and even numbered side centers, this actually adjusts the center of the whole composition or the whole spiral to be in that center between the offsets, if that makes sense. But it's just so that when you're rotating it, it rotates around its actual center, which is, it's just looks a bit better. You don't really need to include it if you don't want to, but I did. And then next is size. Again, I'm going to use unit length. So unit length equals, and I'm going to pick whip that to that. Next line, make a variable called length equals index. Now, if you don't know what index is basically just the number, this hashtag sort of symbol that it is in the timeline, the layer stack sort of thing. So each one is assigned this. So if I had well, let me finish typing the expression out and I'll show you what it means. Index times unit length, and then length. So if I had this unit length, which I've assigned to a slider already, if I had that as say 40, and the index of this is 1, so the length of each side is going to be 40, because 40 times 1 is 40. Whereas if it was this layer, if I'd moved it below here, and its index was now 2, it'd give a length value of 80, because index times unit length is now 80. 40 times 2 is 80, obviously. So that's just how the index tag works. Now, in the strokes, this one's super easy. If we just go down, open the stroke width slider, and we just alt click this stopwatch and pick whip that to this. Super easy. And because we haven't changed the slider value, it's now disappeared in there because it's the default value of 0, which is fine. Now, what we have to do now is, this is where the magic happens. We have to add a trim path, and I'm gonna leave the start at 0, and we're gonna alt click that, and this is where we start doing the magic. So we're gonna type in unit time instead of unit length. Unit time equals, and I haven't opened that, so I'll do it now. Unit time equals that one. Trim, I'm going to make a value called trim equals, and then time over unit time. Now, I've done a bit of maths prior to this just to work out what the trim path will be. If you want, just comment below and I'll take you through it, just how I've done it. If you've got experience with sort of, summations in maths, then you'll know exactly how I've come to it, but if you want an explanation, just say it in the comments. Time minus unit time equals index minus 1. And then times 50. And the reason for this is time over unit time. It basically just, this is an indication of how many values of unit time have passed at any given time. So it's alright for that. And then this subtracts it from the value it started at, just so it stays between 0 and 1. and then times 50 because we want its maximum value, because it only ever fills up 50% of the square. We want its maximum value to be 50, so I times it by 50, and that's how you get to that. It is worth saying that this configuration makes sure every revolution takes the same amount of time to complete, whereas you can have a different expression in there and it'll make the sort of the trail go at the same speed all the way around, which it can look a bit lethargic and slow at times, which is why I've put this one in, but I'll put that in the description below, and you can just chop and change and replace it if you need. Right, and if trim, so this is an if statement, so if it satisfies what you write in the brackets, then it'll come true, and if not, then it'll give you an else value which you define afterwards. So if trim is less than or equal to 50, then use trim, or else use a value of 50. So what this does is, because time will keep increasing even after it's reached 50, you want to just sort of cut it off as it gets to 50. So that's just a way of making sure it's 50 all the way through and doesn't go beyond. And now the last step is offset. Now, even though, oh, we've got an error. Oh, it's because I didn't change the phase of these. All right. Last thing, the offset. So again, we start with unit time. What I was saying before was, even though the squares are just square on square on square, they actually start from different points in the square. They start from opposite corners each time. So the offset just makes sure that you're using the index to make sure that you're getting the right corner every time. So start with, oh, no, that's wrong. Sorry for wasting your time. Theta, we're gonna use theta because that's the mathematical symbol for angle, innit? So theta equals R. Right, I'm going to define a variable called rotation center equals we'll just give it a value of 0 for the moment, and then theta equals rot center plus index times 180, and then theta should be returned. And what rotation center does is it's going to be a value we investigate ourselves, and basically we want the square in the first instance start in the bottom right hand corner and fill up from that side. So we're going to pick a value opposite a value of rotation center that gives the first point opposite the bottom right hand corner, so the top left corner, and fills it up from there, because the first value is going to give an index of 1 obviously, and 180 times 1 is still 180, so 180 plus that rotation center is going to give the bottom right hand corner, if that makes sense. Sorry if you don't understand that, but it'll become clear in a second. So we want to give it a little stroke so we can see it. I think we might need to give it some size as well. Oh, it's because it hasn't grown yet. Alright, sorry about that. So yeah, this one starts in the bottom left. We want to add 90 to that, so it starts in the top right. No, I need to add, not add 90, take away 90, so it starts in the bottom right. There we go. Perfect. So that's the way we need it to start, and then that should be, as far as I'm aware, complete. And like I said, the way to get it to grow is to simply duplicate the shape layer. Bang, 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 bang. It's taking a while to load, but okay. And there we go. Control layout, we might want to change the unit time, so have it as like say 1, and there we go. And as you can see, these corners are a bit like disjoint, so the way to fix that is just to not have your stroke width so high, so it's, you know, you can't notice it. And what I did with it after in my previous project was I just added, where is it? I just made an expression for rotation, which was time times 20, which is as time goes on, it'll multiply by 20, and that'll be the angle that it's at. So it just, you know, just a little bit more animation, you know. If you want it, you don't have to go with it, but I think it looks quite nice. And this, because we did a square composition, as you can see, these sides aren't getting cut off. If we had done a rectangle composition, I'll show you what it would have looked like. So height 1080. And it would have looked a lot more like this. And which isn't bad at the moment, but then you can see, which one did I change? Comp 1. Oh, comp 1's still square, sorry about that. Alright, 1080. And then mine. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright. And then you can see there, it's like it's disjoint and it's not really looking nice, and that's really not what you want. But yeah, that's my first tutorial on YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed. If you've got any more requests, any more videos you want me to take you through, you know, just put them in the comments and I'll be more than happy to. Anyway, peace.